Hey everybody, welcome back to Buddy's Spirits and Cigars. Today we're going to do some Widow Jane Decadence. I talked to some buddies that have tried this. I don't know if they had the bottle or they just tried samples, but I've heard that you don't want to do very much of this. It's very sweet and just all around different.
It's a good pour.
Yeah, they said it was good, but they just couldn't handle too much of it.
It's not near as bad as the Knob Creek that we did. That was like diabetes and
the maple?
Yeah.
Okay, yep. Well,
this is not to that point, but it's still sweet.
Well, let's see what it's all about here. It says a blend of straight bourbon whiskeys finished in maple syrup barrels. This is batch number 1. So it's 91 proof. So we'll get into it.
And they also have a little tag right there, and it gives you specific instructions for a maple syrup old fashioned.
Did you try one?
I haven't, because I don't, I really don't do a whole lot of old fashions. I do occasionally, but
I tried one. Me and the wife went somewhere to eat, and I tried one, and they had their own spin on an old fashioned, and it wasn't like horrible, like it didn't turn me off, but it was not desirable, if that makes sense.
I see.
I don't know.
Some people try to just make them too sweet instead of making the bourbon the main part of the drink and just complementing it. They try to mask it with too much simple syrup and orange, and you know what I mean? I think you should put just enough of that stuff in there to really bring out the flavors of the spirit and not mask it. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, it should be at the very least maybe equal parts, to where you can maybe have a flavor of all of those together instead of, like you said, the sweetness just really overruling everything. But they also were going to use, I can't remember if it was Evan Williams or Jim Beam bourbon or something like that. And I seen that they had Knob Creek, so I said, do Knob Creek instead of those other two. Not that those other two are horrible, but Knob Creek's just a better bourbon, in my opinion. Dude,
that Willet Rye that we love, I know it's almost sacrilegious to use it for an old fashioned, but that's like one of the best things I've ever used because it's that spice. Oh, it's phenomenal.
Well, back to Widow Jane.
Yeah. Squirrel.
It was talking about old fashions on there, so it's all good. You don't have a ton of sweetness on the nose. I mean, it's ethanol forward.
I get a little maple in there though.
Yeah, but not a ton. Not as much as you would think when it says maple.
Right. I'm gonna drink it. See, it's a little more bourbony than
It is
a lot more bourbony actually.
It's not near as sugary sweet as the Knob Creek maple.
It's still a sweet like maple honey bomb to me. But there's still bourbon in there. You know what I mean? I like it. I think it's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's not so much that it's off-putting to me.
It complements it a little bit to me.
Yeah. And it seems like that maple flavor does linger a little longer than the bourbon flavor itself.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, it's good. I like it is pretty maple forward. It's got a little burn to the end, but it's pretty good.
You moved it closer and he backed up.
I know. You gotta really hug the mic. You gotta talk into it.
You gotta like flick it with your tongue every once in a while. That's how close you gotta get.
Little tongue whips. Get a couple little tongue whips.
Kids show.
A little practice.
I just didn't like you full on bringing it.
He was grooming you there, wasn't he?
I felt like it. I felt a little grooming.
Well, it's to the point now. I've preached it and said it for so long. Now I just got to take action.
I'm not big on the nose. The nose isn't bad, but I'm not big.
It's pretty ethanol forward on the nose.
Yeah, the taste kind of makes up for it, but
yeah, there is quite a big transition, in my opinion, between the nose and how it hits your palate. The palate is much better than the nose for me. It's more ethanol forward on the nose than what you get maple off the nose. But to me, I think it's fine on the palate. It's not, like I said, it's not so sweet. It's off-putting to me.
I agree. All right, so I'm just gonna preface this real quick. Before I give my review of it, I have a tangent that I've been waiting to give until we shot again since we went to that bourbon drop. And as soon as I mention it, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But I'm just gonna get off. I'm gonna chase a squirrel, and I'm gonna go off a little bit here.
Talking about the last one we went to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
The last where we all three went.
Yep.
The one where the first guy out the door got a case of Peps and a bottle of Evan Williams.
That blew my mind.
That's a regular. That's what that was.
But I don't want to take away from your story.
No, you're good.
But so we get to this bourbon drop, and we traveled for a couple hours ish to this place, and so there's people that found out early and all that other stuff. That may be what he's going to tell them. Not sure, but anyway, so we're in line. We finally, it's like, all right, everybody gets up out of their chairs and we start scooting in close to get up there to where, and then we see a guy that would have been first in line. He comes out carrying some PBR and some Jack Daniels. We're like, what? There's no way this dude just sat in line and waited for all of that. I think he was just, they had a way for regular customers to come in and try to get some things and
not have to
check
wait
out
in
and
line.
go and not wait in that long
They
line.
looked up for the regulars.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool that they done that. But it appeared as if he was first in line and came out with a case of PBR and a bottle of Jack.
So
It's like I wait in line every day.
Yeah.
It's bad.
So my review is I really like it. I pick it up occasionally when I don't want something like barrel proof or like super bourbony. If I just want to like relax and sip on something easy and smooth and sweet, that's when I drink it.
Yeah.
So just every once in a while I'll pick it up and have a glass, I enjoy it. It's different. It's sweet. People that are just getting into bourbon that come to my house, I usually let them try it and they usually really like it just because it's not quite as, I'm not going to say offensive because I love the taste of bourbon, but for people just getting into it, sometimes some bourbons can be a little offensive. You know what I mean? And so this is a good way to ease them into it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it can be harsh on the palate and can, usually with you're bringing somebody into something, usually going with a more of a sweeter profile hits a lot more people's palate versus something that's just going to straight up be harsh and then they're turned off
Right.
and don't want to try anything else.
Right.
So you're correct on that for the most part, I would think.
I'm going to give it a good 3.5. It's a solid little bottle. I'll keep one on my bar, as long as I can find them. They're not the easiest to find, but I see them around occasionally. The only thing that sucks is it's like a $90 bottle, which blows, but I'm sure the maple syrup and stuff they have to put in the barrels, and then the finishing process isn't cheap. You know what I mean? So I guess I get that. But yeah, that's where I'm at with it. And now for my tangent.
Oh, I thought you were doing that first. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna give my review first.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So
Let us finish our reviews and then you give your tangent.
that's fine.
That way the scoring system is not up there for
Not effed up.
25 minutes on
Okay.
you.
Cool.
So the Widow Jane Decadence, this is the first time I've got to have it. I don't like the price. I don't think it's worth the price. I don't think it's worth $90. There's several other bottles that I can get around the same price point or even cheaper that I enjoy a whole lot more than this. So I don't think it's insanely sweet like what I was understanding the description to be from some of my buddies. It's not that sweet, especially like Dawson said, when you compare it to Knob Creek Maple. I mean, it's not anywhere near that. However, the maple barrels, finishing them in maple barrels and honey barrels and all that stuff has really been taken off here for the last year or so. I mean, it's really been, they've been doing here and there, but seems like it's becoming more and more prevalent as of late. So, I mean, they done a good job. I don't have a problem with it in that sense, but for me, I'm going to do something else on $90 now that I know.
Yeah.
But, if you never had it, you got to try it. That's kind of one of those deals. It's not gross by any means. However, I'm just going to go with a 3. That's the best I can give it.
The biggest turnoff on it's the $90, the price tag, and then the other ones I think they go up to like 120 or so, don't they?
Yeah, 150.
They get up there, but
as you get in higher end years, they jump up pretty quick.
For this particular one, it's good. The nose isn't the best. The taste is good. The finish is okay. I think, like Dawson said, though, it's a cool one to have on the shelf. It's a cool one to see.
Right.
You don't see it every day. It's a cool bottle, cool name. But I'm going to go with 325. I think it's definitely above average. If I saw one, I'd be tempted to buy one, but it is pricey. I feel a comparable one would be like an Old Forester 1910. And I think it smokes this, and it's way cheaper.
Without a doubt, smokes this.
But this is good. It's not a bad pour, and it's 325.
But, the 1910 is not finished like this either. This is finished in maple barrels. And
yeah, the only other maple one I can think of that I've had would be that Knob Creek.
Yeah. So, all right, that's our rating on Widow Jane, Decadence, and Dawson has a rant.
Here we go. I'm putting my cigar down for this because I'm probably going to talk with my hands because it infuriates me.
Well, that drives the point home a little more.
Yeah. Okay. So, for everyone out there watching this, don't be a whiskey douche. Okay? Listen, here's what I got irked as shit at that drop. So the guy in front of me, right? How long I waited for 3.5 hours, 4 hours?
Yeah.
Maybe longer.
You were there, 10 minutes before we were?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And he was like the coolest dude, man. We talked about his kids. We talked about him, the car club he's in. Just one of the nicest guys I've ever met. You walk up and he's like, this is a good dude, right? So we're talking and we're getting in line and we're like, working our way through the back of the store in line and we're like trying to peek and see, what's left and everything. And he's like, what are you going to get? And I was like, well, it depends. I'm kind of hoping there's a cigar blend left or, worst case, like a 107 or something like that. If there's something cooler, maybe snag that. And I'm like, what are you thinking? He's like, well, man, I really like Blanton's. I would like to get one of those. And I was like, okay. I was like, can I give you just a little bit of advice? Because he was just now kind of getting into bourbon, right? And he was like, yeah, man, I'm all for it. And I was like, man, if there's a 107 versus a Blanton's, personally, I think you're better off going with the 107. I was like, Blanton's is not bad at all. It's a great bottle. A lot of people really like it. I said, I drink the heck out of it, But if they have those two left, you're going to find another Blanton's before you find a 107 probably. And he's like, okay, man, I really appreciate it, blah, blah, blah. I haven't had that one yet. I've heard good things about it. Well, we get up there and he gets a Blanton's. And I'm like, this guy is stoked, right? He's like, he's as happy getting a Blanton's as I would have been getting a B-Tac, right? He's happier than a puppy with two Peters. He is there. That's just a saying my grandpa used to say. And so we get out, we're going outside, and his buddies that are, I guess, some guys he knew from the car club were like, oh man, what you get? And he's like, I finally got me a Blanton's. I've been looking forever. My wife got me one last year for my birthday, and I haven't found one since. And they're like, you stupid mother effer, you got Blanton's, blah, 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 and this and that. Why would you use your pick on that, And this guy is went deflated. And I'm like, listen, I told him, I was like, y'all can screw right off. I was like, if that's what he wants and then he's happy with it, then let him be happy. Just because, you think you're the Mr. Bourbon aficionado and you know better than everybody else and that's a shitty bottle in your opinion, doesn't mean you have to ruin his day.
Very true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've seen it, not necessarily in our group, but in some of the other ones I've been on, people post, oh, I love this one. And people just get on there and just shit on them. And I'm like, listen, you can always give your advice and try to help people out and pick, what you think may be a better bottle or a rarer bottle or something like that. But don't be a dick about it. You know what I mean? Just give good advice. And if they get that, then be happy for them. There's no reason to shit on somebody's good day just because you think you know more. That's my tangent.
No,
it burned me up, man.
I agree. And, when you think about it, the bourbon family, if you will, is everybody knows everybody in a sense. You can talk to, we've got in our BSC community group, we've got a little over 300 people. And everybody that's in that group knows somebody from the other groups. And I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. So things can spread like wildfire. And, that's one of the things we wanted to promote and maintain in our community group is positivity. If just whatever your hard to find bottle or your bottle that you've been seeking for years and trying to get, and you're like, oh, I finally got it, and you're so excited and happy, whatever that bottle is for you, that's fine. But that doesn't mean it's the same bottle for everyone else. And with this guy he's talking about, I mean, Blanton's, okay, if that makes him happy, that makes his day, and he was willing to wait in line and that's what he wanted to pick, more power to him. That makes him happy. And, you know, whatever your bucket list bottle is, it might have been a BTEC, or it might have been a 107 or Russell's 13, whatever. Maybe this Widow Jane Decadence, who knows? But not everybody's bucket list bourbon that they seek after and like, that's my unicorn. Not everybody's unicorn is the same, you know? And so I'm not going to ridicule you if that's your unicorn and that's what you want to pick. Okay, cool. He gave advice. He was right on his advice in the opinion of a lot of people. And that guy listened and didn't turn it down, but he still made a decision to get what he went there to get. So,
and dude, I was happy for him. I said, man, I'm so glad you got your bottle of the Blantons. I said, I hope you really enjoy it. He's like, oh man, I'm going to. You know, my wife got me one last year for my birthday. I drank it, haven't found one since. He's like, I'm just stoked. And I was like, good. Don't let those guys ruin your day because they're dicks.
No, I agree. And it shouldn't be that way. You know, we should support each other. And, you know, if there's places that have bottles that aren't easily found and somebody wants to post that in the group, do it. You know, the price might not be right, and it might not be something that everybody agrees with. Now, we will try our best to maybe say something as far as like, hey, we might caution you on that price or something like that. And we can do that in a respectful way. We might caution you on the price and be like, hey, that's way too much for that bottle. If you'll hold out, chances are you're going to find it cheaper somewhere else. You know, secondary market has really turned this whole bourbon market upside down. And a lot of people are angry about it. I'm one of them. I don't like the secondary market stuff as far as having to go pay 4 or 5, 8 times what the bottle cost. And more than that in some cases. B-tax, you're going to pay 15 times more what the bottle would cost. So, you know, it's crazy. I don't like it. That's a soapbox for me. Everybody knows that.
No, I agree. I just think there's a way to be constructive and try to give an opinion and not shit on somebody. Yeah. You know, like my brother for his wedding, right? We had an E.H. Taylor single barrel. I had a 107. I had a Russell's 13. I had a Midwinter Nice Dram. And I was like, is there anything else you want on your wedding day? And he's like, man, I'd really like some Blantons. Well, I hit up my store owners and they're like, man, I'm not getting another shipment in for, a month. The wedding's going to be past it. And I was like, okay, hit up one of my buddies that I know deals in the secondary market a little bit. You know what? I paid $100 for a bottle of Blantons. Would I do that on a regular basis for me? Absolutely not. But you know what? It's my brother's wedding. That's what he wanted. So that's what I did. And he was happy. And so if people want to give me crap about that, then fine. But that's what I did. And, for me, it's worth it in that instance. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, that's a very special occasion and hopefully only comes around one time.
Right. And I'm not advocating for paying secondary prices at all. But I'm just saying, I could have posted that and people would have ridiculed me for it. If I see somebody do that, I'm like, hey, man, I'm so glad you got that bottle and you guys enjoyed it on a special day. Like, that's the way to go about it.
Yeah. And that's the way it is. That's not, I mean, that's just a request his brother had. And so if that's what does it for them, then so be it. Thanks for joining us on this episode. We greatly appreciate it. This is our opinion on Widow Jane Decadence. Not a bad bottle, but I think $90 can be better spent. That's just my opinion. Like we said, it's not something that you see just sitting around all the time either. So I think it's worth a try for sure.
And thank you for listening to my rant.
So anyway, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to invite your friends to join our BSC community page. We've got some more giveaways coming up. Also, do not forget about the bourbon tasting event we're doing at Stonehouse. And that'll be April 26th. Tickets are on sale right now. The link is in the BSC community page. And it's also on the regular BSC page. So hopefully we'll see you there. We'll catch you on the next one.